writer, educator, former beauty queen, and fashion icon who has dedicated her life to empowering youth, women, and families. She founded Catalyst for Change Incorporated, which houses her impactful mentorship programs, including Girls with Pearls and the Young Male Scholar program. Through Girls with Pearls, Kamika equips young girls with etiquette, leadership skills, and social polish, while the Young Male Scholar program honors students for academic excellence and community service. As a passionate humanitarian, Kamika has led international mission trips and exposed students to life-changing experiences in countries like Nicaragua and South Africa. She has also been an advocate for social change, women's rights, and undeserved communities. Kamika's remarkable work has earned her numerous awards, including a commendation from the U.S. Senator Christopher A. Coons for her contributions to mentoring and community service. In addition to her mentorship initiatives, Kamika has made her mark in the pageantry world, earned several titles, including Miss Black Pennsylvania, and competing in various prestigious pageants. Her dedication to education and leadership continues to inspire and uplift those around her. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, we're honored to have you. And just a little bit, we will have hopefully a reading, more of a discussion, and then we'll go into our Q&A with the audience. Afterwards, I'll come back and I will announce some of our other exciting upcoming events we have here. So I'm going to leave the floor to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Matima. Madia, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Hopefully everyone can hear me in the back. Thank you. And this is really like a relaxed conversation. I really call them courageous conversations where people can be vulnerable and ask questions. And sometimes people normally would come to these book signings and already have written the book already, and they're ready to ask questions. And some have went on the excerpt, and or some haven't read it at all, so they're just looking to ask how I started the book and what really inspired me to write Girls with Pearls. Again, I'm Kamika Lynette Bell. I am the founder and executive director of Girls with Pearls. It is a mentoring program based in Wilmington, Delaware, where celebrating 13 years. I got started with motivating. I don't want to use the word motivating, because motivation comes from within. I like to use the word inspiring. I really got into the work of inspiring young girls through my work in pageantry. I'm a former pageant winner, Miss Black Pennsylvania. And before I became Miss Black Pennsylvania, believe it or not, I was very shy. I would have never thought in a million years I would be an author, work on a dissertation, travel around the nation, speaking and really empowering other young people. But as a young girl, I grew up in a inner city. I don't know if you're familiar with Chester, Pennsylvania, a city that is drug infested, crime. A lot of things are going on in Chester, Pennsylvania, and I was very grounded and supported by my father, my mother, my grandparents, who were the catalyst for change in my life. And I remember when I was 13 years old and my cousin was 6 years of age. Every weekend I would always go stay with my cousin, every weekend. And that one weekend, my eldest sister and I and my other cousin, we decided to travel to Wilmington, Delaware to get our hair done. And on our way back, there was this news broadcast on the radio station that a 6-year-old boy got killed or was shot. And we didn't say anything about it. It was just, I'm sorry, I was 13 at the time. And I remember going back home, and as I walked into my home, my sister and I, my mom was an avid cook. She would cook all the time. And she must have been preparing, I'm never going to forget, some crab cakes and some other dishes. And the food was still on the stove, not cooking, but you can see she was preparing it. And my grandparents lived 3 doors down from our home. And I remember my sister calling my grandmother and said, "Where's my mom?" And she said, "Well, Kishana," which is my female cousin, was shot in the head. And again, I was 13 at the time, and my cousin was 6. And my cousin didn't make it. She did pass away. She was, comatized for a little bit, and then she did pull the plug, and she died. And every weekend was a weekend I was there, but that one weekend I was not there. And I blamed myself at 13 13 years old for a very long time. Like, I wish I was there to protect my cousin. This would have happened. So I went through all of these changes when I was younger. My baby sister, she was there when it happened. So that was at the age of 13. And for about 2 or 3 years, I really went through a phase of depression, a phase of sadness, and really carried that weight. But there's one thing that changed my life, who really raised me up from the pit and raised me up from that situation. There was a lady on my block. Her name is Ardella Jemerson, and I owe her a lot of respect, and may she rest in peace with God. She approached my mom and said, "I would love Kamika to compete in an oratorical contest." I'm like, well, I said, "What is an oratorical contest?" At that time, I didn't even know what an oratorical contest was. And she said, "Well, you have to get up and speak, but you need to write an essay." I said, "Write an essay?" And at that time, I was 15 years old. And she connected me with a teacher by the name of Laverne Reed. And I give her praises to this day. And she told me, she said, "Well, you need to get off your bus." I went to a Catholic high school, and you need to get off the bus every day and come to the school. I'm going to help you with your essay. And she helped me write my essay, and my essay was, the theme was "Up Ye Mighty Race, You Can Accomplish What You Will." Anybody know who that is, Up Ye Mighty Race? What quote is that from? Up Ye Mighty Race, You Can Accomplish What You Will. Up Ye Mighty Race, You Can Accomplish What You Will. The first initial is an M, and the last initial is a G. Yes, Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey. Yes, so "Up Ye Mighty Race, You Can Accomplish What You Will." And that really resonated with me for a very long time. That really carried me through life, ups and downs. Up Ye Mighty Race, You Can Accomplish What You Will. So my whole essay oration was around Up Ye Mighty Race, about Black culture, Black literature, and I performed in this oratorical contest. You talk about a shy young lady who never thought I would have the ability to put words together or formulate words. And by the way, when Laverne Reed was looking at observing my writing, she said, "You write very well." So I participated in this oratorical contest, my first time ever in public. And that contest, I won 3rd place. And again, fate and just people, somebody's always watching you. And there was another, like this lady, somebody was in the back watching me. And I was 15, and they approached my mom and say, "Oh, we would like your daughter to compete in the Miss Teen Pennsylvania Beauty and Teen Pageant." It's Miss Pennsylvania Teen Pageant. It was a pageant where you needed a talent. And I did not have a talent at that time. So they said, "Well, we would do everything. We will sponsor, we will pay for the gown, her swimsuit, we would do everything to make sure your daughter is a part of this competition." So my mom said yes. I'm like, oh God. So I needed to come up with a talent. I was in high school, and one of my good friends, she was a phenomenal dancer. And I was taking some dance classes, but I wasn't as great as she was. So I said, "Well, can you help me put together a dance routine, because I need to perform at this competition?" And she helped me put together this dance routine. And I started my talent out, "Up Ye Mighty Race, You Can Accomplish What You Will." It was like a dramatic monologue, and I formulated a dance with it. My first pageant ever, and I was first runner-up. And I remember my mom in the audience just jumping for joy. And that changed my life. That really brought that shyness out of me, but also moving me away from being in a community where it was crime and violence. So pageantry was my savior, participating in an oratorical contest. And so many other doors started to open for me because of a seed. Somebody saw something in me, a seed that was planted. And I was a sponge, and I listened to everything that mentor told me to do. And then my life started to change from there, and went on to compete in other pageants. I competed in the Miss America preliminaries, the Miss USA system, former Mrs. Delaware, and just did a lot of work in pageantry. So how my life really started with Girls with Pearls. I remember I was in Pittsburgh. I was at Carnegie, really at the Carnegie Mellon University, taking some graduate coursework there. But I also was working at University of Pittsburgh for the Center for Minority Health. And there were 2 phenomenal people working there. Again, again, I've always been blessed and attracted to greatness, and somebody saw greatness in me. And I always wanted to do some international work. And I remember speaking with a lady by the name of Jean, and I said, hey, I would love to do some international work. And she said, I would like to connect you with Ardeen Kirkhofer, and Ardeen Kirkhofer has transitioned to be with God as well. And she connected me with Ardeen Kirkhofer, and she said, me and Ardeen met, and she said, well, Kamika, I'm taking a group of young people to South Africa, and I would love for you to travel with us. She said, the cost is $2,500 to attend. And I was determined. I was able to raise $2,500 like in a month. And I remember people just sponsored me and gave me the money to go to South Africa. And my life changed by traveling to South Africa. And I remember when I came back, that's when my life really started to change for service and doing humanitarian work. And that's when I found it Catalyst for Change. So I started Catalyst for Change, really working with young people and inspiring young people in the areas of the arts and fashion, because I've had that passion background and that never left my blood. So I started to do Catalyst for Change, and another lady connected with me and wanted me to do some service work in Nicaragua, and I wanted to take a group of young people with me. So I did a fashion show fundraiser, really work with young people in the areas of the arts. And we put this beautiful show together, raised some money, and we used that money to take the young people to Nicaragua. And did that for a year or two, and then I changed the whole goals and objective with Catalyst for Change and made it Girls with Pearls, where I was focusing strictly on working with young girls, and that was prophetically spoken into my life, that I should be working with young girls. So I started Girls with Pearls, celebrating 13 years. This year is 13 years, where I work with young girls, and these girls were not recruited. They were not recruited into being a part of the legacy, being a part of the movement. It's just I did one. I want to say probably 10 years ago. 10 years ago. Well, 13. Well, I would say 13 years ago. I did one advertisement. I said, hey, I need a few girls to come to the library, and I'm going to be hosting a Girls of Pearls, and we'll love to work with your daughter. And next thing, I have this plethora of girls coming to the library. And most of those girls followed me for about 5 or 6 years. So a lot of the girls who would come into the program, they would stay. My most recent young lady graduated last year. She was with me for 10 years. So they come and they stay in the program. So I'm never scrambling for girls and having open houses. They just pretty much are the same girls who are with me from year to year. I do a lot of, we'll have our annual gala every year where the girls are able to come and showcase their talents. And we do different events throughout the year. And the work is posted on social media. And then people ask, oh, I want to learn more about your organization. I would love to get my girls involved. And that's how normally I attract girls to Girls with Pearls. So how I really started this book, there's a lady by the name of Laurice Dale, who is my mom's best friend. And she basically knew my life story, the tragedies that I've faced with losing my cousin, losing my brother to violence. My father, who is my inspiration and my hero, my father passed away suddenly about 4 years ago, and he would have been extremely proud of me, and I know he is smiling down from heaven. My father is, because he's still in my heart, a huge advocate for social justice, and he instilled in me justice and speaking up and advocacy work as well. So I started to writing this book because of my mom's best friend. She said, you have a story to tell. People need to hear your story. And by me being a writer, I would write and stop, write and stop. So this book has been like a long time coming. It's been a work in progress, but I would stop and put it down and put it back up. But what really changed my life, and when I know that I needed to complete this book when my father passed away, but then I would say last year, I had a moment in my business, and I think we've all had moments where we just feel depleted, we just want to give up, we're just exhausted. And my book was my healing. I really needed to finish and tell the story for other people, because this book is not about me. It's really to bless other people, to keep moving, to walk in purpose. So when you do have the opportunity to read the book, I have an acronym that stands for PEARLS. PEARLS. And with people, I guess I wear pearls around my neck, but I teach to young ladies and even the men who purchase pearls for their significant other, their daughter or their wife, make sure you let them know what pearls symbolizes. And the P stands for purpose. Purpose. What are you called to do? If you have woken up this morning and if your heart is still beating, you have a purpose. And a lot of times we may not know what our purpose is, and that's why you have mentors to help you discover that purpose. And I encourage people to tap into find a mentor to help them develop their purpose. And sometimes you may know what it is, but how do I really get started? So that P is so important to me, is walking in your purpose and doing the things God has called you to do. Because when you're walking in purpose, I'm not envy of you. I want you to move forward. I want you to do well, and I'm cheering for you along the way. If you get to the finish line before I do, you've done your job where I've done my job. So that's the P. Then E stands for etiquette. I teach the young ladies how to display proper etiquette. And in today's society, just a small word, two powerful words that can take you so far in life. That's just simple thank you. Thank you. Please, if somebody done something great for you, send them a thank you card. The importance of somebody send you an invitation, RSVP by the deadline, be on time. If the invitation says 8 o'clock, show up 45 minutes or 15 minutes before the time. I have a saying with my girls, preparation leads to elevation. Always making sure that you're prepared. The young ladies who are prepared for life are the ones who are going to succeed and do well in life. So that's the etiquette. I spend a lot of times with the young ladies and saying yes and somebody instead of yeah. This is a big difference. The word yes and the word yeah. It makes you stand out. And the next one is A, attitude. Your attitude is so important. You can be the most beautiful person on the outside, but are you beautiful on the inside? Your inward beauty is more important than your outward beauty. And you want to be able to work with people, and you want people to be able to work with you. The next one is L, which stands for, R. R stands for resilience. And this is one of my biggest one as I work and mentor with young girls, and even some adults struggle with resilience. Are you able to bounce back because of disappointments? And a lot of times things are not going to go your way. They still don't go my way as an adult. You know, we live in like a quick society. We want everything our way, and unfortunately, life is not always going to go the way we want them to go. So really teach the young girls, are you able to bounce back from a disappointment? And how are you going to handle those disappointments? The next one is love. You know, are you operating in love? Because God is love. And last is service. Are you going to be a service to your fellow man? So those are the acronyms that I discuss in my book. And not only this book is for girls, but it's for men. It's for anyone who wants to walk in purpose. If you're already or in business and doing well, or you're having some challenges, this book does give you tips and goals of how to set those SMART goals and just to strive for excellence. And if you have those moments where you felt like throwing in a towel, this book is for you as well too. So thank you. That's a little bit about the book, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I don't want to talk too much because I know attention spans after a while. We start looking at our phone, we look at our watch. So any questions, please feel free to ask any questions. Yes.
What do you think is the biggest challenge facing girls today?
I think the biggest challenge of facing girls today is the need to compare. I think social media has made it so easy, accessible for young girls, not even young girls, as people in general, where it's a comparison trap, where they're looking at social media and seeing what people are look like or how their lives are being told. And I need to compare my life to what is actually on social media. And a lot of times those images and those realities are not real. So I believe a lot of young people are finding the need to, I need to look a certain way. I need to have all this showing in order to fit in. And also now, unfortunately, is the identity. Like everybody is doing a certain thing, and I need to fit in doing what everyone else is doing, instead of being a leader, as I teach my girls to stand out and to be different. So I just think some of the challenges is the comparison trap.
think black girls suffer from that more than other girls?
I think they do. I really think they do. I think the pressures and in the expectations on black girls are much more higher than the other ethnicity. And research states black girls are more labeled, and boys too, black boys as well, but black girls are more labeled and placed in the juvenile justice, or they get the higher rates for suspension. So the black girls are labeled, and that pressure are more on black girls, I think, than any other ethnicity. And there's research to state it as well too. And there's organizations like the Coalition for 100 Black Women nationwide, and other chapters that are doing a lot of research and advocacy work around protecting black girls. Any other questions?
I'll throw you another hard. This is gonna be a hard one though. So,
And if I don't know the answer, I said, you know what? Can I get back with you?
it feels like, we're in an internet age where like a lot of life takes place on the internet and not so much in real life. And so like if you're a young black girl today and like your reality, maybe 50% of it or more is really happening online, like how do you, I guess, create a model in real life that those women who are kind of having their experience cultivated by this online kind of plastic, commercial, capitalist view of like what a human is, like how do you take that away and replace it with something positive, like in real life?
That's an excellent question. One thing I have been doing a lot with my girls, and even for myself personally as well, is managing my interaction with social media. A lot of times it can become very overwhelming, especially the climate of our society today. It can become very daunting. And I believe some young girls and even some adults has made social media their identity. It's almost an addictive behavior where the first thing they do when they wake up in the morning, they're checking their social media account versus meditating, that quiet time, hearing, being intentional about your day. I just think those are conversations that's going to really have to take place with the parent. A lot of parents raises conversations with their child, and even some type of curriculum around social media and how it impacts young people and the damages it can cause us later on. And again, there are some great parts because I use it for business, but then I know there's a balance where I need to shut it down. But everyone does not have that mentality or that mindset to know how to balance it. But I just think there's going to have to be more conversations with children and their parents, and also how much access are they granting their children to social medias. I think kids are having a cell phone at 7 years old, and they're able to access social media and have I don't know, I don't think you can create an account. You have to be 18, but the parents may create an account for them. But I just believe more monitoring and more conversations around the pros and cons of social media. Hopefully that answered your question.
I'd like to push on that. So like, I think, right, you're kind of putting on the parents, but what happens when the parents were the same kids from like 15 years ago? Like, how are they going to have conversations that no one had with them?
Again, yes, and that goes back to a point that even when the girls that I have in my program, and some of the parents, I don't want to generalize, some come into my program like, I think I need to have an adult class on etiquette, because you're right, because those parents may not have received the training, the guidance, or the etiquette of how to be a young lady, how to carry yourself, the consequences of posting something that it may come back to haunt you. And I always have and I have a son, he's 21 years old, he's about to hit his junior year at the University of Delaware. And he was, oh, Mom, here we go again. I would say to him, every decision you make, do you want it on the front page, of the News Journal in Delaware. And I said also, and he does really well with this because it was me instilling these values. Do you want a job to be searching, and then there's something on there that you cannot take back? So to me, it's really having these conversations with adults as well that may have not received that sort of, etiquette training. But to your point, yes, what do you do if they have not received that formal training? Maybe like some other people, is just that there needs to be some ongoing conversations around how to carry yourself and the consequences of media. Yes.
So, your young ladies, where are they now? What kind of occupation have they gone to, etc.? If you can speak a little bit.
Every year we adopt a different family, and we put items together, and we drop those items off to a family that is in need. This year we are going to Bahamas. We're doing an international trip in Bahamas where we are
serving an orphanage where it's a kind of fun trip at the same time, but we're also serving families in an orphanages hospital in the Bahamas. So also they're able to see that international experience, but also they're leaving their environment as well too. So yes, we are service oriented, and at the end of the year we do this huge performance, a beautiful performance. The girls put on their dancing, their ballet, the lyrical, contemporary dance, but also they have to turn their service hours in. So not only are they doing service work with Girls of Pearls, we go out in the community to do it, they're also encouraged to do their own service hours as well. And the girls have to fill out the form, and they are rewarded at the gala. They get an award for the hours that they've completed for their service project. But yes, I apologize, I didn't elaborate, but yes, service is one of our strong pillars with Girls with Pearls. Thank you. Any other questions? I do want to read a little section from chapter 1. Is that okay with everyone? I'm not going to hold you long and still open up more questions. So purpose is, besides the purpose and service and love are dear to my heart. Walking in purpose, operating in love, and being of service. Those are my three, out of all the pearls, those are the ones that really resonate very well. So the first chapter 1, it says pearls of wisdom, aligning with your purpose. Know you were born with the purpose. You were called to be on this earth and this time and place to bless the lives of others. Every person on this earth has a unique purpose. The life we lead, and the direction we take are shaped by our actions. While God guides us, it is up to us to discover our true purpose. Identify what nourishes and fulfill us and pursue it with our energy. Finding and living your purpose means understanding what truly matters to you. Identify what drives you to contribute to the world and using your talents and passion to make a positive impact. It is about discovering one thing that ignites a deep fire within you. Why do we continue to push forward even when our efforts seem lost or meaningless? It is not just your personal fulfillment. It is about connecting with something greater than you. This could involve contributing to the well-being of others, advancing a cause, or creating something meaningful. Ultimately, our purpose on this earth is not solely to seek personal satisfaction or find our own personal version of paradise. We also have a responsibility to help others. When you feel inspired and are giving a platform, it is crucial to use it effectively. Like a megaphone, let your voices resonate in the hearts of all those you encounter. So I just want to read this. It was the first chapter of purpose. It's just the first few paragraphs. And the back of the book, it really gives you a lot of different resources to walk in purpose. And each section, as it relates to pearls, it gives you quotes. So for P, quotes on purpose, quotes E on etiquette, quotes A for attitude, L, service, and others. So this is the book here. So please feel free to ask any other questions. Yes.
I feel like that person in school, is always raising their hand.
Yeah, I was one of those students as well too.
Okay, so this is a tougher question, but I think like etiquette is kind of a politicized term, I think right now, especially as we consider it's really relative to who's around. So like, I think of my dad who's like 80. Etiquette to him is different from someone who's 40 versus someone who's 20 versus someone who's 10. And I think, to what degree do you feel like etiquette is evolving into a space where, like, as you present it to these girls, it's actually useful for them versus trying to fit them into a mold of etiquette that was maybe useful 20, 30, 50 years ago, but maybe less useful today?
Yeah, it's different. You're exactly right because the etiquette I had when I was growing up was effective. It really has helped me to be the person that I am, and so many wonderful doors and opportunity has opened for me because of the traditional etiquette, the training that I received when I was in school or a part of I don't want to say charm school, but etiquette school. And it's a little bit different because trying to use those same exact principles that were instilled in me when I was younger, it's a little bit, I don't want to say difficult, but you have to kind to adjust and adapt and really build relationships with young people. So that's what I find a little bit, I don't want to say challenging, but different, is that I didn't have a social media, back during my time. So you're dealing with a generation where when you're having your sessions, you just have to say, okay, time to put the phone away. Okay, when we'll be done, and then you can turn your phone back on versus the phone is out all the time. You're all dining. What is everybody doing? You're going through their cell phones. We didn't have that when we were coming up. When we were at the dinner table with our parents, we were just sitting down eating, or if you were sitting with whoever, it was this time for you to eat and have conversations. How was your day at school? What did you learn today? Versus now, and I'm noticing when I'm meeting with my girls and having workshops, I have to put the phones away. And even times when we're at an event, I have to take the phones and return the phones back to them when it's over. So just pivoting and changing, adapting, reminding myself, Kamika, this is a different generation, and it's going to take a little bit more patience. And it's not going to be something quick, instant, like a quick fix to be able to reach and change a young child's life. It takes patience, and it really takes building those relationships. Yes.
I'm sorry for joining late.
That's okay.
I think just a couple of the words I heard, I really do like your wisdom. I'm a student at Howard University, senior psychology major, and I'm a black person, but I'm also Ethiopian. So I live this like multicultural perspective where I I feel like I'm um, black, but I'm also Ethiopian, but I'm also a female that's struggling through like all these like racism, sexism, and all that is I feel something I see and I don't like experience it directly, but as a society we do struggle with tremendous issues, especially with black people. We are under the lowest pyramid. I know I'm just rambling right now, but I just wanted to ask for your wisdom of like I know you read your passage that like find your passion and your purpose and then connect with people on that, right? But the process of it is something I'm personally struggling with. Like, how do you know what's your passion? How do you know what's your purpose? Because mostly I'm just experimenting. Mm-hmm. And then when I'm experimenting, I get so tied to something that I really thought was my purpose. Mm-hmm. But it turned out it completely wasn't. Mm-hmm. And that to me is like really disheartening. So how do you overcome that? And then how do you shift to being open-minded and able to attract that purpose you're trying to find?
That's an excellent question. And by the way, thank you so much for sharing. Absolutely beautiful young lady. Wonderful. You should be modeling these beautiful features. For me, this is just a Kamika Bell speaking. I always encourage people, what really excites you when you wake up in the morning? What really excites you? What wakes you up in the morning? What would you like to do if you were not even getting paid for it? And sometimes you may not know that. Sometimes that takes just kind of jotting those things down. But what really fuels you in the morning? What gives you life? And sometimes it changes. Like you said, sometimes you see, sometimes, like I've been doing this work for 13 years and I love it. But now I do see myself, I want to do something different. Because you may have an excitement, a passion for something for a very long time, and then, like you said, it changes. And that's why it's so good to really have that quiet time in the morning to hear and meditate. What am I called to do? And I promise you, if you really take that quiet time That quiet time in the morning is so paramount, and listen and hear for what God is saying to you to do. You will get clarity. And sometimes you may not get it right away, but it will come. So the first thing I want to encourage you to just sit, have some quiet time in here and listen, but also identify what things make you excited. What wakes you up in the morning? Something you may, when you were a child, you may have dreamt about something you wanted to do when you were a child. And it may still be in you, but like, I'm afraid to do it, but you want to do it, but you're afraid to do it. And write that down. So just whatever it is to make you excited, that gives you life. I would start there, but also that quiet time of being still. Being still is very paramount as well too. Hopefully that answered your question. You're so welcome. You're welcome. Any other questions?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to ask you some. I think that, you know, in general, in this complicated time, young people, boys or girls, to me, I think, even though they don't articulate it, I think the fundamental displacement of their psyche and spirit is loneliness.
You said loneliness?
Yeah.
Yes. And even for some adults.
Well, especially young people.
Yes.
Because if the articulation is not instructed well, it doesn't come. There's a different kind of shaming and gaslighting. It's a different sense of cultural war going on. In that kind of context, I find a serious problem of loneliness.
And you bring up a really great point. I remember there was one of the young ladies in my program, and was having a similar, the loneliness, but also struggling with depression. And then also identifying everybody want to fit in, they're looking for friends. And wanting to have friends. And in our society, kids can be cruel, adults can be cruel. And then that puts young people in that isolation place, that loneliness and that depression, or dealing with bullying. So I do believe that is another issue as well. I would agree with you. That is facing a lot of young people. And a lot of times they won't even talk about it, with their parents. They'll just pretend everything is great. And then the parents may start to notice the patterns or some different things that may not be normal with their child. But yeah, I do believe that is another alarming, not only just looking for friends, but also our climate that we're living in today as well, too, adds on to the burden, the stress of things as well too. Thank you for sharing.
And I have one last question.
Sure.
Is there a program you lead where girls, women come together and do some kind of social activity?
Yes, in fact, we have several events throughout the year. Our biggest event is our Girls Gala. It's our 13th year, so every year we have all of our girls showcase their talents. We prepare throughout the whole year, and we do dance, like lyrical dance, contemporary ballet. And these are girls that look like you and I, that are operating in excellence and Black excellence. So they display their performance. They get on the stage, they speak, because it's very important that young girls have the ability to speak with confidence. And I always tell my girls, always, and I want to tell you, my beautiful sister, never allow anyone to dim your light. Never allow anyone to dim your light. In a society today where they're trying to silence our voice, I really teach our girls speak up, speak your truth, and never allow anyone to dim your power. So the girls at the gala, they get up, they speak with confidence, they display their talent, they have their gorgeous gowns on, just showing social grace and eloquence. So that's one of our biggest events. But then we do tea parties throughout the year. We have mentoring classes throughout the year. We just had something recently where, Black History Month, where young girls, all the girls had to come up with Black history mean to them, and they had to get up and present it in front of their peers. And I provided feedback to the girls and gave them feedback at the end. Well, not this, a little bit of feedback that day, but later on in the week, I gave them a written feedback. And we have been invited to different places in Delaware, Congress, and things of that nature to familiarize the girls of how social justice and how laws are passed as well. So we do about 4 to 5 events a year. And then we're doing an international trip at the end of the year. I'm taking the girls to Bahamas for a service project. Their parents are going with them. I am not taking them by myself. Their parents are held responsible, so we're just sponsoring the trip, but the parents are responsible for taking them. So yes, we do. We're always looking for interns, someone like yourself, college students that are good role models for our girls. So I would love to connect with you afterwards to see if you love to do some type of mentoring, because it's really important for the girls to see other young ladies or representation to look like them. They're in college, they're in medical or law fields, entrepreneurship, politics. They need to see all cross sectors of careers. You're welcome. So thank you, everyone. Hopefully I answered all of your questions. Please feel free, if you would like a book, I would be more than happy to sign it as well. And thank you so much for coming out this evening. I call it Courageous Conversations. I think the beauty of having conversation is being vulnerable, and that's when you get set free, and it's when you can be vulnerable and speak your truth. So thank you. Thank you for the phenomenal questions. I like being asked questions on the spot. I don't like when they say, oh, can you come up with your questions? No, I like my brother back here. He has some great questions. I like to be challenged, and I like to be pushed. And you give me something to think about for the next time. So I'm a thinker, and I love discourse, so thank you. Yes.